Welcome to Living Life with James, the podcast where real stories and real conversations help us to make sense of life. From personal journeys to expert advice, each episode gives you something useful, whether it's a new way to think about things, a helpful tip, or just a reminder that you're not in this alone. Let's keep growing, keep connecting, and keep living life together.
Cosmetic procedures are everywhere. Social media, news, TV, from Botox, fillers, weight loss meds, breast augmentations. Some people only think about the negative. However, the positive impact on our mental health is something to talk about as well. Today, I want to get into the balance. I'm going to have a little bit of a kiki and some fun, but also a heartfelt conversation with someone that's lived it, Alan McGarry. He is a viral sensation, social media influencer, and now recently TV reality celebrity. Botched Presents, the plastic surgery rewind project. He is full of charisma, humor, and fabulous energy. Please help me welcome Alan McGarry. Alan,
Hi.
thank you for being here. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
I'm so excited, chicken. I am loving popping on and talking to people about my life and about things that happen in our lives, our daily lives. So it's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure that you asked me to pop on. So I'm very excited.
Listen, there are so many things to cover. I want to get into it. You know, the first thing going through my mind, Alan, if someone could get to know you in 30 seconds, what would you say about yourself? What would you want them to know about you?
I would say that I am a very, very loyal, caring, honest person that may come across very different. I might have that kind of resting bitch face, someone that has it all, someone that's just always positive and always happy. That's not me. I have my good days and I have my bad days. And I just want people to know that I'm just like them, even though I live a life on reality TV and the public limelight and social media. I would just want people to know that I'm just like them. I have good days and bad days.
Thank you for saying that. And that's why we're here. I mean, this is stereotypical, don't judge a book by its cover, right? You think you know
Exactly.
someone, but there's so many layers to people. And that was just a perfect setup for there's so much to Alan and what meets the eye.
Exactly. And I think I used to be someone like that, that did judge a book by its cover because I just was so, aroused with people just being like that. But as time has gone on and I've matured and understood myself and others understood everybody else, that I'm just like, live and let live and let people enjoy their lives, let people tell their story however they want to do it. So I agree what you're saying. And that's how I am now. I'm just like, it's a free for all for everybody. You do you and be happy for you.
You know, that definitely comes from our community. That definitely
Mhm.
comes from, I think, our life experiences, a little bit of the wisdom, right? And the things that we've been through,
Mhm.
good and bad, ups and downs, to say,
Yeah.
I have a different perspective on life.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. I agree with you. And I think with our community, we kind of have to stick together and we all have to kind of, support each other. And I think sometimes with my kind of community, sometimes I feel like I'm not included for the way I look and the way I present myself. And I kind of get uncomfortable sometimes going into LGBTQ safe spaces because I just feel as if like they look at me as, oh, the person from TV, or oh God, like this person thinks they have it all, or this person thinks this. And that makes me feel really uncomfortable. And I shouldn't feel that way. I should feel very accepted to go into a place that my community is drinking. And I suppose a lot of my friends would be trans women and trans men. And I always feel so comfortable being with those types of people because when we're out together, everybody's looking at us. And for me, I just feel as if, well, I don't know who they're looking at because they're looking at someone here, and I just feel as if that I'm more included with those types of people than I would be going into a gay bar, for instance.
Yes, yes, yes. Listen, you are hitting the nail on the head. I'm so grateful you're here because these are the topics I want to talk about. I
Yeah.
just did a podcast. It was called, I'm sorry, an Instagram Live talking about here for it with Reba and Heidi, two other therapists, and we were talking about loneliness. And the
Mm.
idea is that you may belong to a particular community, but how you can still feel isolated, you can still feel alone, and so many communities talk about this,
Oh,
right?
definitely, definitely. Like, especially in the industry that I'm in, like if I'm going to host an award ceremony, if I'm going to go and film a reality TV show, 90% of the time I'm going to be left on my own in a hotel. And people think you live this luxurious life and everything is amazing. But when the cameras stop rolling, you go back to the hotel, it's just you, yourself, and I. And that's all you have. You don't have anybody there to kind of go for a drink with or go and grab food with. You're kind of on your own in this game, and it can be quite lonely, even though at the time you're having so much fun, you're making memories, you're creating great content for TV. But at the end of it all, you go home to your normal life or you go back to the hotel, and it's just you on your own.
Now, listen, you have some unique, amazing, beautiful experiences with, hosting awards and being a social media influencer. But the reality is, this topic, many people can relate to. You are
Hmm.
not alone. Many people can understand what it's like to feel not part of a community, a group, have those moments where I'm coming home from work or even within a relationship and feeling like, oh, here I am. It's me.
Hmm.
What am I going to do? So, Ellen,
Exactly.
thank you. Thank you for saying this.
No
Um,
problem.
you are all over social media. You've had viral clips. How the hell did you make it to national TV?
It's crazy. Like I've been doing reality TV since I'm 21, and I kind of got into that genre. I just always wanted to be part of reality TV. I suppose I didn't know any different in school. I just was not interested at learning anything other than just entertaining people. And I just got myself in the door, and it just kind of happened from there. Quite difficult, quite hard. You get a lot of knockbacks. People don't want to work with you, and then it gets busier, and then you get popular, and then you get popular, and then you go quiet again, then you get popular again, you go quiet again. So with this actual show that I got on E Entertainment, it's been crazy because, as you can imagine, like James, I live in Ireland, so it's a very small country. The population isn't as big as the whole of America. I think there's like 5 million people living in my country, which is not a lot. So when I do reality TV in Ireland, only people in Ireland see my show. So if I do a reality TV show in America, the whole world gets to see it. So, I'm waking up every day with viral clips, people tagging me, trending on TikTok, trending on X, and all of this stuff. So I don't know how it happened, but it's been a gift, it's been a pleasure, and I'm enjoying the roller coaster, and I don't want to jump off right now. I'm enjoying the experience, and it's been great so far.
Well, and that speaks, Ellen, to you have something to share.
Mhm.
You have a story to share. You have an energy. I talk about being in your high vibrational self. You have an energy that the world likes, that they need to experience. And listen, you are the one to be able to deliver it to all of us.
And I appreciate you saying that because sometimes it's very hard for me to hear those good things about me. I'm not your average looking kind of guy. So, I get a lot of knockbacks of people just, targeting my look, targeting my sexuality, targeting the way I want to live my life, and targeting what I want to do. And I think on this show, Plastic Surgery Rewind, it was so good to learn about myself. It was so good to be with people who have been in vulnerable situations, whether it was because their work they had to have surgery, whether it was because they wanted to be popular, or whether they just wanted to get away from all the bullies, which was one of my examples. So I think going into a retreat like this really done me the world of good. And I think I didn't realize how much I needed to be on this show before I got asked. I was in a really, really, I wouldn't say a dark place, but very confusing pathway of my life. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what was next for me. I've never been in a relationship. I've never had proper dates. I've never, had a really good job that I loved that I was successful in. So when this calling came to me, it just couldn't have came to me at the right time to go on this show, be vulnerable, and show the world and tell the world my story, what I've been struggling with, whether it's big or small to somebody. I just got the chance to say that, and it's been a blessing in disguise for me, because the amount of people and the amount of support that I get every day from women and men saying, like, thank you for telling your story, thank you for allowing us to get to know you.
Cheers to you, Alan. And there is so much more to come from this, because I can see the light that you're bringing to the world. I can see
Oh,
how people can relate to you,
thank you.
no matter their gender, no matter their orientation. This speaks volumes. It speaks so much bigger than just your life experiences,
Thank
right?
you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing to say, because that's all I ever wanted in life, was just to, have fun and just enjoy life, because, it's very short and time is flying, and I don't want to waste any moment. I just want good things around me, but where people meet me in the flesh and they go, "Oh my God, you actually are really a nice person in real life." And it's like, why did they think I wasn't? And it makes you think then,
Absolutely. And that's
why?
why
Why
it's
someone
important, as I would say, that's important to have these moments, because if someone really knew you, and I can experience this from being on a reality show, if they take the time to know you and know who you are, they can see you're so much more. They can see the depth to you. They can see the authenticity. They can see how caring, loyal, kind you are. And that's the most important thing. So
yeah.
thanks for taking the time. I have a million questions that
We'll be here all day, James. I'm Irish. We love to talk, chicken. We love to
listen.
talk.
I'm thinking cosmetic procedures, right? There's still a taboo. Lord knows people have many different things to say about them, but we're also seeing them become mainstream from the different topics of, weight loss medication, Botox fillers. I guess I want to know, why do you think people are so fascinated yet so judgmental at the same time?
I think my opinion would be that people are just so influenced by it. And I think people just want to feel and look good 24/7. And
Yeah,
I think social media is a very big thing now. And
yeah,
we're not really watching TV. Like, I would scroll on social media all day, TikToks,
yeah,
YouTube,
yeah.
X, Facebook, and I think we see things quicker. It's like ordering clothes quickly. You just get it, you want it, you have it. And I think people just do it to feel good, or do it because they're influenced.
There's so much influence to social media and the influences, as you said, on all of these platforms. And that's what I want to break down today, right? There's pros and cons. There's the good reasons, which people may not understand, how it could positively affect your self-esteem, how it could be actually healing in some ways from maybe traumas. I know there was somebody, Sebastian, on the show, and hearing his
Mm,
story really gives a
exactly.
different, right? It gives a different perspective. It's not just about, keeping up with the next trend, or I have to be so pumped full of Botox and fillers. There can actually be some powerful messages and reasons why someone's going through this process.
100%. And you answered my question there. Like, with Sebastian and Sophia on the show, Sophia was going through a time where she was always put down by her ex-partner, who, was always, judging her by her looks. And I think people like that then get into themselves, and they want to change their appearance, and they want to fit in, and they want to be loved, they want to be liked, and they want to be cared. And like, for me, growing up, I grew up with ginger hair. I grew up a little bit more chubbier, and I was always put down as, you're not good looking, nobody wants it, you're this, you're that. And I
Mm.
suppose was just very influenced. I wanted to get away from all of that, and I wanted to change my appearance. My appearance to me was always very important, and I just couldn't physically take it anymore. That I started to change my hair color. I went with black hair. I started to enhance my face. I started to get fillers. And the fillers, it was because I just wanted to get away from the exterior of people saying those nasty things. But the downside of it all, it
Mhm.
got worse, because obviously I was overfilling my procedures. I was looking like, that I was too enhanced. And, it just didn't stop for me. So I was getting away from all the horrible trauma that I had growing up as this little ginger guy in a very Catholic town, in a very religious area, to people then judging me for then changing my hair color, then judging me for doing things to my face, and then judging me for going underneath the knife. So I was like, I just can't win. So, it's a very 50-50 situation for people. People do it because they've gone through trauma. They do it because they want to just get away from all of that and they want to look different. They want to look like a brand new person. It's like you're trying to um reevaluate your life. You want to change the way you want to be. You want to present yourself differently so people would stop saying it. And all we're looking for, if I'm being honest, is someone to say, you look amazing. You look great. And when you get those comments, you just feel like on top of the world. But as you know yourself, when you're in the industry, that one comment can just bring you back down again. That negative comment can just bring you back down again. And we all look for the hate before we see the love. Well, we're human at the end of the day.
You are sharing such a vulnerable story, and I'm so glad you're saying it, because the reality is there are people that may say a little enhancement may affect my confidence or the way I carry myself. And then stories like this or Sebastian really go deep and they highlight the trauma,
Yeah.
especially people in our community may experience. And, the beliefs that we may develop, which is a whole other topic that I would love to get into, the beliefs that we store and how they could be trauma related, and then the reasons we do stuff.
100%.
I'm thinking there's a belief that people get plastic surgery because they're unhappy. They're unhappy with themselves or they're struggling mentally. But for some, it's really about empowerment and choice. If you're going to get plastic surgery, it means that you're unhappy or that you're struggling mentally. But the reality is, for some, it could be about empowerment and even choice. How do you see both sides of that conversation?
It's 50-50 again. There's people that just want to do it because they just want to feel good all the time. Then
Yeah.
you've got people who've just been through a really hard time in life and they just want to fix a few things and they want to just, get away from all that horrible kind of comments they've been getting. And it could be to do with bullies, trauma, relationship situations, domestic lifestyle, or people who've just been through a really horrible ride. And I think it's a 50-50 situation. There's pros and cons with the whole surgery because everyone gets it for different reasons. And it's so easy to access now. It's not like, where you can't get it done like quick. You can just jump and book tomorrow and get whatever you want to get done.
There's a difference of whether it's coming from self-loathing or self-love, right? Because the reality is surgeries can be band-aids for pain, but they can also be an act of agency, when somebody wants to feel good about themselves. You are so right. And I'm gonna bring Dr. Dubrow into something he said. As you mentioned, it's so easy. I think he said something like, people think it's like getting their hair or nails done at this day and age. And it may just be that easy, but they're not realizing the after effect. They're not realizing the complications that could come with that it's not quick or that easy to reverse it.
Yeah,
Hence the
well,
show.
exactly. And I've always said it. It's like, you can go and you can buy nice clothes, you can wear them and you can return them and you can exchange them. But when you go for plastic surgery, you can't return them and you can't exchange them because it's your whole body is changed. So people need to understand that. And I was a culprit to that. Like when I was going underneath the knife, a lot of my friends were like, you do know now that like you're changing your appearance that you won't get back. It's like not that easy. It's not like you can buy clothes and return them tomorrow morning. So I try and tell people that there's a very, strong chance that you may not be happy with what you just had done because it is an enhancement to your public appearance. So
Yeah.
I try and tell people it's just like ordering clothes. You can get it done so quickly, but the only difference is you just can't exchange it.
You can have this done within 15 minutes to an hour depending on what you're getting done. And you're right, it can be a quick fix, right? Something to kind of boost ourselves. But the reality is we need to make sure that this doesn't run deeper, as you described, maybe as Sebastian has described. I'm referencing the show, and so many other people on the show, that it goes deeper, and we need to make sure we're doing the work and really looking to the trauma, looking to how we can heal ourselves besides just getting that quick fix.
Yeah, and I think what you're just saying there is all perfect. And to have the likes of Dr. Spear on the show, who was like, a body image expert that was able to allow us to understand our true selves and allow us to go back into our inner child to understand why we actually done it in the first place in regards to surgery, changing our parents, and allowing us to express ourselves in so many ways that having her on the show was a great asset because it just made us kind of understand ourselves with the challenges, with having conversations, one-to-ones. And I think having so many big personalities in the retreat for all different backgrounds, it was good because we were all on the journey together and we all got to learn and teach each other different types of things. And I got to learn so much and understand. And as you said earlier on the start of the podcast, that judging a book by its cover, that would have been something I would have probably done at home by watching that kind of show and saying, well, this person this and this person that. But when you're in that kind of scenario with these people, these are real people, regardless of their celebrity status. They're telling a story, what they've been going through. And I think it's so nice for people to do that. And I'm very happy that I got a chance to do that. So to be in that retreat and to express myself in so many different ways was just magical for me.
And listen, that's what stood out. For someone watching it, to me, I'm all about the connections. I'm about the conversations. I'm about the stories. And that's what speaks to this deeper level. The reality is people are from different communities, as you said. On the surface, you may not think that people can relate, but to sit down and hear your journeys, how that not only connects you to one another, but there's so much power behind that highlights the healing that was done, that highlights this is bigger than just saying I'm getting a plastic surgery or a cosmetic procedure. That's the important part that I think we all need to hear.
Yeah.
So Alan, you were telling me the most important part of all of this was the connections, the stories, and how that actually affected you and was part of your journey. Dare I even say healing journey? Can you tell us about these connections that you made on the show?
Yeah, to be in a house, a retreat with the likes of Kim Zolciak, her daughter Brielle, and Larissa, these are people who live their lives through the public, lives for all their lives now. And, to be living with those people, learning about them, sharing my experiences was just wonderful. But then to see people, jump on and talk really negatively about these people was heartbreaking for me because I was like, these are actually so genuine, so nice, so kind, real people that go home to their kids, their families, and I just, want people to understand that, when people say something really harsh and hurtful, that it might not affect them, but it might affect the people around them. And I was just very taken back by people just talking very negative. But to me, they were just so nice, so caring, so understanding. And for me to say they're my friends now for life is just an absolute gift because I am just thrilled that I'm friends with these women because they're so empowering, so educated, so dominant, and so just fearless that I'm just blessed and honored to be a part of that show and make friends with these icons because at the end of the day, the three of them are icons.
Absolutely. Again, going back to don't judge a book by its cover, you're saying I got to know them on a really personal level and
Off and,
understand.
and off and on camera. You have to remember on reality TV, it wasn't a Big Brother house. We weren't filmed 24/7. We were filmed for hours, don't get me wrong. But even off camera, they were really, really, really nice. Like Kim Zolciak should be a fucking comedian. She's hilarious. She should do stand-up. She just cracks me up day in and day out. Larissa is absolutely mad as a box of frogs, and Brielle is just hilarious. They're just really nice people, and I think people should really understand and not judge a book by its cover because they're just so nice, so nice.
Yeah, people hop on these platforms and they oftentimes behind a fake profile, but people want to have their comments heard. And it's interesting because when you really dig deep, you wonder where those comments come from, where that negativity, that hate, that bullying comes from. Is it
Mm.
a place of insecurity? Is it a place of jealousy? you know,
Mm.
you often have to look a little bit further. So, shout out to all of these, everyone, I was going to say all of these women, everyone that has been on the show and that is on reality TV that says, I'm not going to let this dim my sparkle. I'm not going to let this dim my shine. And I'm going to keep pushing forward because these things can be
Yeah.
really nasty and hurtful.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. Kim Zolciak and Brielle Behrman and Larissa Lima do not care. Just me. So people can say what they want about them, but they do not care. And that's what I love about them.
Yes.
And they've actually taught me not to care because I
Yes.
used to ask them for opinions and say, like, what do you do when someone says this? And they'd give me so many opinions and just be like, why do you even care? Live
Yeah.
your life, boo. Do what you want to do, and no one will ever, but just don't bother with it. And I've learned that. I was just like, okay, they're
It's a
right.
learning
And I
lesson.
started to, yeah,
It's a learning lesson, right? Because these are women that have, they've gone through a lot, and I'm sure they've had challenging times. But what a shout out to all of these women, specifically Brielle and Kim, because what I'm hearing you say is there's a level of strength and resilience that you
hmm
learn to develop as you go through this stuff.
exactly. And again, living very public lives in America, and people just jumping on and just putting their 2 cents in when they clearly don't know these people. And I'm not saying like, I know all about them. I lived with them for a couple of weeks, but to have that bond with them and that relationship is just fantastic, and I just see them now as two hardworking iconic women who are just out there just to have fun, and at the end of the day they are reality TV goddess and they're going nowhere and they're going to be everywhere, and I'm just a privilege and I am just honored to be their friend.
Thank you for telling and giving us a little behind the scenes, to anybody that would be listening. Speaking of Kim and Brielle, okay, they've been open about fillers. Brielle even said it's becoming like grabbing a Diet Coke. It's relatable. It could even be a
Yeah.
little scary at the same time. Do you ever feel that same autopilot? Like thinking about beauty, it's just, or these procedures could just be like a routine in some way.
100%. There was one show I was on in Ireland where they followed me to Lithuania to have my surgery, and I basically said it was so easy. It was like ordering a Chinese.
Yeah,
Literally, all I had to do was just go online and type in BBL cheap
yeah,
place, and it came up. You ring them, and straight away they're like, "Yeah, I can book you in tomorrow." And that to me was a bit like, whoa. I can actually just kind of fly and head to Turkey and have surgery just like ordering a Chinese. It was so quick, it was so fast and very instant. So yeah, Briella's right. It is just like grabbing a Diet Coke. It's just so easy. Everything is so accessible now. And again, social media, we influencers like myself, content creators like myself, we're there to promote, to talk, to influence, and I am, gullible when I say this and vulnerable when I say this, that my job was to talk about my plastic surgeries, talk about my aesthetics, and to be paid for these kind of stuff to then get revenue for the businesses. So, I've learned now to only do things that I think are right now instead of for the quick cash.
yeah, because that's a really slippery slope, as we
Yeah,
see when you promote yourself and people want to have all these giveaways. And
exactly.
how the,
Yeah.
here's the question: how do you think all of this affects our mental health?
In so many different ways you can imagine, again, I don't know how I feel sometimes when I'm having a bad day, but when I'm having a bad day, I just feel like the world is out to get me. And I hate a situation when I'm just having an argument with one person, I end up having an argument with everybody. It's because I just feel so low. I feel so angry. I feel so deflated that my energy levels then just give off that vibe of I don't care today and I've no interest. And it's horrible, And again, when someone like me does reality TV and you're in the spotlight for a couple of weeks or months, you feel so good, you feel so energetic, you feel like you're on top of the world. But then when the moment starts to kind of fade away and starts to get visible, and it's a freelance job at the end of the day. We're waiting for the next gig, we're waiting for the next, promotion or whatever it could be. you just feel so unwanted. You feel as if, like,
Not many people can
yeah,
get it unless they've been through it. Alan, I am here and I am going to extend, I know we just met and we've talked briefly, but I've been talking about micro connections and friendships take a while, but I would love just to offer that level of friendship for those moments of when you go through it, reach out to me. I
yeah,
think to me, this is the most special part about connecting, the behind the scenes that, as you've mentioned, when you're not filming, what it could look like, right? We can ride highs, we can ride lows, and how it could affect our mood, how anxiety plays a part. And for me, a big part of going through all of this is just the connection piece and meeting people, having our stories shared, but more important, being able to offer a level of connection and saying, I'm here. I'm
yeah.
here. I'm
No,
here.
I definitely appreciate that, because I think, again, going back to the show I done, it's a different show I've ever done. I've never been on a show, I've been on lots of reality TV shows, trust me, but I've never been on a show where I got to show the real me, that I
Wow.
allowed people into my personal life and made it very public. And, that was a very big thing for me. So now I feel so confident to share my good days and my bad days, and to, you know,
It's
feel
real.
good. Yeah, it's a different. I'm in a different headspace. I just
So you're saying all this, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, God. First of all, Ellen, I could talk to you for hours. I want to know. Do you think surgery can really maybe heal the wounds that we're carrying from the inside, or is it just an illusion?
Yeah, you know what? I don't think so, really, because I thought it was going to be the best decision I ever made in my life.
Mm,
And it probably wasn't. And it's not that I didn't have a good surgeon. I had a really good surgeon. I was looked after very well. The company I worked with, everything was successful, no complications whatsoever. So I'm grateful and thankful for that. But did it make me feel better in myself? No,
mm,
because I just didn't understand what I was doing. I was so naive to everything, so gullible, just wanted to be accepted. And if you asked me to be accepted for what, I couldn't tell you. I think, when someone looks like me, identifies the way I am, I have to look myself in the mirror and say, do I look too feminine today? Do I look too gay today? Am I wearing too much makeup? I shouldn't have to feel that way. I should
no.
just feel
That,
like me. And I feel like I'm always checking myself. I'm always questioning myself. I'm always paranoid. I'm riddled with anxiety. And when people say, oh, you're overthinking, maybe I am, but I can't control that feeling. It's tough, and it gives me so much stress that no one realizes that I can get
yes.
bloated. I can get, oh, it's
And
never
Alan,
ending.
this isn't a gay or straight thing, right? It's a male thing. It's a female thing. It's something that we can all relate to.
Yeah,
Your issue is maybe a little more unique, but the reality is this is something so many people can relate to. And again, this is just your story, but it makes me think that surgery, as you just said, it can kind of change the mirror, right? But it can't always change our mind. And I think that's probably the most important thing, that true healing requires that internal and that external work. And that's what I'm hearing you say.
yeah, true. And I know I keep going back to it, but I just feel as if this was for me. This whole experience, the retreat, plastic surgery rewind, it was made for me. And I'm feeling that much better in myself now. I'm feeling that much more confident in myself now. It's like a weight lifted off my shoulders now, that I got rid of some of the stuff that I had done. But don't get me wrong, I'm human, James, as you know, and I, have my good days and bad days. But this is what I needed, because we first spoke. I said at the start of the call, I didn't know where my life was going. I
Yes.
didn't know where I was going to end up. And if I didn't go on this show, I'd probably be going underneath the knife again. I'd
Yeah.
probably be going to get my lip fillers done again, because I just didn't know when enough was enough.
This,
I
Ellen, it gave
just
you a different perspective, and I'm hearing it gave you a little light and
mm,
purpose. It's allowing you to look at things differently.
very much so. And of course, I'll always get a bit of Botox chicken. You know, I like to be snatched up here. I like to be
Get
frozen.
on there with you.
You know, and but going through the other levels of my life, you know, aesthetics and surgery, I don't think I'd ever put myself through that again, because it's the after effects when you have surgery. Your downtime can be really tough. It can be lonely, it can be painful, it can be worrying, it can be stressful, and the list is endless, you know, because you get excited going for your surgery, but then you have this big downtime where you can't do various things. You can't go out and see friends, you can't party, you can't go to the pool, you can't shave
The
your leg.
downside, the
Yeah,
not so luxurious part of it, right? That not everybody gets
exactly.
to see. Anyone watching this, Ellen, who may feel insecure about their looks right now, what's one thing that you wish someone had told you before you got any of these procedures?
You are fine the way you are. You
Mm,
are just perfect, authentic, amazing, funny, talented, and just unique. That you don't need to change absolutely anything about yourself, and
yeah.
just love yourself. Because as Brielle said in the show, we are going to be the ones who have to live with this face for the rest of our lives. It's our face, you know. Don't worry what people think, because it's our body, it's our lives, and that is it.
You know, shout out to Brielle, because what we're saying, the scalpel can change the face or the body, but really in that right there, it's almost a mantra of, you know, you can change the face, but what's happening with the mind? Let's make sure the mind is okay. You know, you're open to getting any procedure you want done, but let's make sure the mind is right. And maybe that's that resilience and strength that Brielle and Kim share.
Exactly, you know, and again, you know, having the likes of Image on Dr. Spirit on the show, you know, allows you to understand what's next for you. Where is your journey going to take you? Where do you want to be? And having those chats and pep talks is very helpful, because when you're going for surgery, you don't have those chats with anybody. You know, you're just meeting your surgeon, you're not meeting a psychologist, you're not meeting a therapist, you're going to have the surgery. And I think maybe going forward, if you're going to have surgery, go chat with somebody, go chat with a therapist, and find if you're in the right mind, whether it's the right decision you need to make. Because I think going to speak to somebody the way we did on this show allows you to
Life changing.
reevaluate yourself,
Life
you
changing.
know.
Thank you for saying that. You're absolutely right. Whether it's therapy, life coaching, you need some support or guidance to say, let me walk me through this process. Let me make sure I'm in a good place, right? Not to say get it or don't get it, but let me make sure the mind is in a good place before we talk about the what's
A
next. Alan,
hundred percent,
that's really,
definitely,
I'm
it's really
curious.
important.
I'm sure audiences are curious. Maybe what's one thing that the show didn't air that you wish they would have?
Oh, strange enough, like I don't actually quite know, because it was so overwhelming at times.
Mm.
A friend of mine, actually, yeah, actually, yeah, there was my best friend Paul. There was a scene they didn't show, and maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm going to say it because that's me. I just let it all out. It's not a bad thing. They had it. They called my best friend Paul, to kind of chat to him to find out a little bit more about me and what they could say to me, and what they, you know, how they felt about me as a person. And basically, there was a scene where Dr. Spirit, you know, said that she had a message from me, and it was from my friend Paul, who wanted to tell me that I was perfect the way I was, and that he always wanted to let me know that I didn't need anything done, that I'm lovable, caring, kind. And I think he always told me that, but to have it physically on a screen where the whole house is watching was very overwhelming.
Mm.
So they didn't show that, and but I suppose it's okay, because I come back in episode 8 next week, so there's an exclusive there, where they do show something like that, which is very exciting. They come to Ireland, and I get to show the viewers of Plastic Surgery Rewind my beautiful country. So that comes up in episode 8, which is the finale, which I didn't tell anybody this. So yeah, that's next week, where I come back in the retreat, and I get to bring the audience in America back to my home country.
We cannot wait to hear this. And shout out to friendships like that.
And friendship is very important, and it means more than anything in the world. It's part of family, and I couldn't see myself not having good friends like Paul around me, because they're just amazing, very good, very kind, and just great. And I'm very lucky to have a friend like Paul.
Thinking about this, the real story isn't always about what you may see on the screen, right? Because there's a lot of moments that happen off of the screen. And I'm hearing about your friends. Clearly, they cut parts out. I'm hearing that this journey, there was a lot to it for you. There was a lot to it. And thinking of the concept of rewinding, which I absolutely love, I'm thinking rewinding these cosmetic decisions, right? It's not about being anti-surgery. It's more
Exactly.
about self-reflection. It's more about kind of an emotional clarity that you may have. It's more about kind of a transformation beyond the physical. So I've actually, side note, I've started something called the Rewind Project with Joe the Gamer, and we came together and we talk about moments in our lives that we may have dealt with, from bullying or past traumas, and how to rewind them, very similar to the show. And I feel like as we go through life and we think about mental health tools and tips, as we think about wisdom in our life experiences, we can rewind and say with clarity and with wisdom how I'd like things to look different, or how I'd like them to move forward. So this show is brilliant because it addresses that. And I want to know,
Exactly.
how do you feel when you think about kind of rewinding in a new outlook? How does that affect you?
Yeah, and you touched the nail on the head there. It's not anti-plastic surgery. This
No.
show's not about, like, you shouldn't get plastic surgery. It's about people who've done things where they realize they don't want to have, whether it's surgery regret, whether it was because they have to have it done, and you have the opportunity to go through this tunnel and come out of this tunnel in your reversal look.
Yeah.
So, it's a breathtaking experience, but I also think it's also different. It's never been seen before. It's a show where people actually have a chance to take away something that they no longer need, and probably no bother to have, because they don't need to have this stuff. So to be given the opportunity to, do this on national TV, it's just an amazing opportunity for anybody. We are people that are vulnerable in this situation where we're just going to decide whether we're going to go through this or not. And I think that's why the audience is loving this show, because it's not something ever done before. And I think when people hear the word botched, it's not botched, it's
Yeah.
Botched Presents, which is a
Presents.
franchise.
Yeah.
So people are a little bit like, oh my God, like, you're going on a botched show. It's like, no, we're not botched. We're just on a show that's made by Botched. It's just a franchise. So I just think, it's a show that hasn't been done before, and I think it's just a great opportunity for people to see situations they've never seen before.
Absolutely. And I'm just living for the stories behind it, right? Because ultimately, what I'm hearing, as we've talked about, Larissa, Kimbriel, the mindset behind this, right? And the questions. It's not necessarily why I got surgery, but it's maybe how I felt afterwards, and what it's doing for me. Cosmetic procedures aren't really just about changing how you look. It could be about reclaiming how you feel in your body. So there's so
Hmm.
much more to it. And I think that's the biggest message I would like people to be able to walk away from, right? We know there's pros and cons. We know there's people judging, but there's so much more to people's stories, and being able to sit with that and understand both sides, right? The negatives, the positives, and what that can be for someone.
Exactly. 100%.
Listen, I adore you, your energy, the way you speak, your insights. Thank you for sharing about the show. But I want to ask some personal questions now
Of
that I
course.
ask everybody at the end of the podcast. So I'm just going to do a rapid fire here, Alan, and I want to know, what brings you joy lately?
What brings me joy lately? I think accepting myself, you know,
Oh God,
and
you were right. That's a powerful one.
yeah, and loving myself, and just enjoying myself. It's been a long time since I started to love myself and be happy with myself. And, that's what I'm loving right now is just wake up again in the morning and just feeling good, feeling positive, feeling just great. And I haven't felt like this in a very long time. And I've never spoken about it because I just didn't have that platform and I just didn't have the opportunity. And again, going on that show just allowed me to live my authentic life and to just express myself in so many different ways, in so many different scenarios, in so many challenges that now what brings me joy is just loving me.
I was on a podcast called The Reality Gaze, and they deemed me Miss Congeniality, and I'm going to extend that to you. You just
Thank
have a
you.
perfect way of presenting your answers, and yes, you just make me smile, and
Oh, thank you.
I love your style and approach. What I'm going to throw a few more at you. What is a good comfort food or a guilty snack that you have?
A guilty snack. Oh my God.
We all have.
Right. So when I had my surgery, like my plastic surgery, like my 360 lipo BBL, I ate so well. I actually was a little bit more slimmer the way I was actually more slimmer than I am now, but I haven't changed in waist size, but I'm just a little bit more different. I would say Chinese food.
Ooh, okay.
Like,
Give me a
I don't
dish.
know what
What do you want?
Chinese food.
What are you gonna order?
I don't know if you've got this over where you live, but we're gonna have crispy salt and chili chicken.
Oh,
We're gonna have
not
some
a common one, but it sounds delicious.
we're gonna have some egg fried rice.
Okay.
We're gonna have some fries,
Okay.
and we're gonna cover it all with curry sauce.
Oh, okay. Listen, that's
That's
not my go-to, but I join you. I'm flying over to Ireland. We're gonna have a little kiki. We're gonna have a little lunch and dinner together.
chicken. You are gonna fly over here, chicken, and you're gonna have the time of your life. You better get on that flight. Arizona won't know what is going. No, not Arizona. Ireland's not going to know what's
Listen,
gonna hit them when
we
James the Arizona chicken rocks up.
I'm living. You come over here. You hit LA. You better let me know because we will be meeting up. I want to know what grounds you when life feels off.
What what grounds me when life feels off is to take a step back, turn my lights off in my room, turn
Mm,
my TV off, and
mhm.
just be thankful and grateful for all the opportunities that I received in this lifetime.
Wow.
Because I came from absolutely nothing. Still have nothing really, but I came from absolutely nothing. I grew up in a very normal household, and I always wanted more. I come from a very disadvantaged area, and I'm proud of it. I'm very proud of it, and I have to
Oh,
take credit to myself and say I done it. I done all of these amazing TV shows, and I'm grateful and thankful. So when life is feeling really bad, I just zone out and say, Alan, you have achieved so much in your life. Be grateful, be happy. And that's what I do.
Alan, I talk about this, and it takes people a significant amount of time in coaching and therapy to practice gratitude. And you just mentioned gratitude and how important that is.
Yeah.
Alan, what
Just
a great
happens.
way to wrap up and a gentle reminder to practice gratitude, a gentle reminder to take a step back, dim the lights, turn the TV off, put the phone down, and just sit and be thankful. And let's manifest as well. That's
That's
brilliant. Last question. If you could gift someone a book, a favorite book, a book that stands out, what book would you gift to someone?
God. Well, see, I'm not really a book person
Okay.
because I am riddled with ADHD. Well, I'm self-diagnosed myself with
Oh,
that
I'm
because
glad. I'm glad you said that. Many people. Okay.
yeah,
Can't read.
because I can't sit down. I can't my concentration span is terrible. I can't sit easy. Now, if I'm having a conversation with someone like you, James, and there's a connection, there's good energy, we're having a great flow of, topics, then I can sit easy. But
Yes.
when I'm in a position where I'm just agitated, I've no interest, I'm overthinking everything, then I just can't sit easy. So for me to sit down and read a book is very hard. For me to sit down and watch a movie is very hard. I can't, the only time I can zone out is when I turn off my lights and I get into bed and I close my eyes. That is the time that I relax, and that's my time. So to answer your question about a book,
You answered
could
it.
be-
You
I
answered
answered.
it. And guess what? I love this answer, because the
Yeah.
reality is I can't tell you how many people can relate to ADD, ADHD, that can relate to not being able to focus. And the reality is our world with social media plays into that. We're used to,
100%.
right? I can't even do a 3 minute. It has to be a 1 minute, and I'm scrolling. Our attention spans are shorter, and we're used to media being delivered a certain way. Hence, it's hard to sit and watch a movie, let alone a 2-hour movie these days.
So bad. And I, like,
Yeah.
I'm on this call with you over an hour, and the first thing I'll do is go on social media to find out what messages I've received and whatever. So, it's just a habit that I need to start going, okay, Alan, enough is enough. Take time out for yourself. But I'm getting there. I really am. But I just think people should enjoy gratitude and enjoy, talking to the universe and just being thankful, because it
Alan,
really does work.
on that note, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful
Oh.
for your honesty. I'm grateful for having this time. Listen, this is probably one of my longest podcasts, and I could keep going with you, because I feel like we could talk about so many different
I'll be
topics.
back, chicken. I'll be back. Don't worry.
I cannot wait. Thank you again for all of your time, and I'm sending all the best, and we will be in touch.
Thank you so much, James.
Thank you,
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Want to be a guest on Living Life with James? If you got a story or a message that you feel can inspire or help others, message me through my website or DM me on Instagram. I'd love to connect.